Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to another edition of the Between the Numbers podcast. We have just finished week 13 and we have our first playoff team. The Dallas Cowboys got themselves a playoff berth following their 17-15 win over the Vikings. They're now 11-1. Pretty stellar record for the Cowboys. Other than that, we're just going to go through two games this week. And if you can hear already, I'm a little bit ill, so please forgive me. Hopefully I'll be better. I've got my Lemsip going on, so I don't know if you guys have that in America, but maybe. If you do, then it's terrible, and you know it. But anyway, we're going to go over just two games this week, and then obviously our picks, which I think I didn't do that. I did all right in that. I don't like that.
You went above 500, but you just
Yeah, that's all right.
yeah.
Oh my god. Okay. So the Rams signed Jeff Fisher to a two-year extension. Like what? Like, I even tweeted about it on the thing. I was just like, why? Like, why? How are you in that stage where you're giving him a 2-year extension? Like, I get that they drafted your man Jared
Goff.
and like that's a whole future and everything. And if as soon as you went to LA, you kind of signed up with Jeff Fisher for like his, I don't know, his like brand of football. Um, but it was just terrible. Like how it like he's 4-8 right now. 7-9 is still on. I don't think it's happening. But I just don't see it. I just don't see it. Like I don't know why you would do that. What are your thoughts?
I'm super surprised. I was just having a quick look at the news this morning. It's just come out that the GM Les Snead didn't actually know that Jeff Fisher had got an extension
Or until
until it was announced by the press.
oh wow.
So maybe there's some like backroom dealings going on here that Jeff Fisher's probably quite close to the owner Stan Kroenke.
Mm.
But yeah, it seems weird. Like, I mean, even if you say, all right, they're rebuilding for the future, I don't know what they expect him to build on. The offense has been unwatchable. Depending, like, it doesn't even matter who's at quarterback; they can't do anything.
Uh-huh.
Defense, all right, has been above average, but do they really think they're gonna
Yeah,
win?
their defense is not bad, but just their offense is like there's nothing. There's Todd Gurley and that's it.
Yeah.
Like
Maybe
when-
he's been
like-
given a 2-year extension as the defensive coordinator or something, and he's gonna demoted or something.
I don't know. I saw quite a funny meme this week where it was when Jeff Fisher was back working at the Titans and the Rams stopped the Titans at the 1 yard line in the Super Bowl to win. So he was like, "You stop me at that, I'll stop you going. You stop me at the 1 yard line, I'll stop you going to the playoffs every single season." I was just like,
That's
"Why?"
good.
Like,
Do you reckon it's got anything to do with the major share, the owner of the Rams, Stan Kroenke? We know him from the Premier League as the major shareholder in Arsenal, who are also mediocre and
Oh, he
can't
is.
sack a manager.
yeah, but
Do you think-
Arsenal aren't mediocre though. They're actually pretty good.
Yeah, true, but they're very content with like staying at the same level.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I'm not sure what it like. I get the whole Arsenal thing because like they've actually been good and they've actually done stuff well. And he has won some titles for them, like the FA Cup and that. But
Yeah.
for in football, in like American football with the Rams, no way. I don't get it at all. Do you want to get onto one of your games this week? Kicking off.
Yeah, I'd love to.
Mm.
I'm going to start off with my first game, which was in Pittsburgh. It was the New York Giants at New York Giants at the Pittsburgh Steelers. This was well, all games down this stretch at this point in the season are must-win games. But I thought it's especially a must-win game for the New York Giants because they've gone on quite a win streak and they really need to prove that they were for real. And like I predicted, they're not for real.
Oh,
They
come
lost-
on.
They lost 24-14.
They were on like a 6-game winning streak.
Yeah, but they looked so bad against the Steelers. They could get their offense was so bad. Eli Manning had 195 yards passing. He threw 2 interceptions. Like they looked so bad. The Steelers' offense was played with such ease against the Giants' defense, which is meant to be their strong point, and they really struggled to stop the Steelers. I mean, Le'Veon Bell had 118 yards, and he was finding space easily. Antonio Brown I mean, Antonio Brown only like fair play. They held Antonio Brown to 54 yards, but Ladarius Green, who it's not like teams have been struggling to mark this guy, had 110 yards.
Mm.
But yeah, okay, it's one game for the Giants. It might be like a dip for them, but this was kind of how I thought this game was going to go. That the Giants come up against a good team, and they start to show some cracks, and the Steelers are doing what the Steelers do. Yeah, we've been kind of ripping into the Steelers a bit this season because they've been playing quite badly, but they always find a way to find form at this point in the season.
It's true.
And they're doing that now.
I always think that's the same thing with the Giants. Like, as soon as they get into the playoffs, it's a completely different team.
Yeah, but they got to get to the playoffs first.
It's looking like they might, though. I mean, 8-4 is pretty good for that wild card spot.
Yeah, but they have such a difficult they're in a good position now to get to the playoffs, but they
do have Dallas next week, and then the Lions, the Eagles, Eagles, and then the Redskins. Both are away.
Yeah. So that's the toughest schedule I think out of those wildcard teams, and they're really going to struggle to get there. Maybe I'll just say it because I've got a bit of a chip on my shoulder over the Giants.
We all know. Don't worry.
But no, they're like, I'm just being realistic about this. That you look at the teams they've beaten, they haven't been that great. They struggled against good teams. Like, all right, do you remember? Actually, no, I said they struggled against good teams. They beat the Cowboys in week 1.
Yeah, they're the only team to beat the Cowboys this season, and they play them on Sunday Night Football this week.
Yeah, that's gonna be a great game.
And this one's in New Jersey as well. They're playing the New Meadowlands, so they'll see how it goes down. You know,
on Sunday Night Football, the Bucks Cowboys game has now been flexed into Sunday Night Football.
The Bucks who?
Bucks Cowboys. I think it's next week. So next Sunday, so not this Sunday Night Football. The Sunday Night Football after that is now going to be the Cowboys, Bucks.
Right. It was the Steelers Bengals, wasn't it?
Yeah, they've been flexed out because that game no longer really has much.
Yeah, true. That was going to be like a good playoff game for like the end stretch, but the Bengals have just been so average this season.
Yeah.
Not even average, just bad.
Yeah.
They're 4-7. So.
But I do like it how they have quite a lot of flexibility coming into the end of the season.
Yeah, they definitely need more of that because you can't really predict like who the big games will be. Like, like fair enough putting like divisional rivalry on like a Thursday or Monday night game because you can't flex those really. Like that's not a thing. But like for the Sunday Night Football game, especially towards this end of the season, it definitely should be more like a higher.
Every single Sunday Night Football game from now onwards should be one with major playoff implications. Like I think like maybe the Bucks Cowboys isn't the biggest one, but I think it's nice for the Bucks to have a chance to be on Sunday Night Football because they have played so well in the last couple of games, and they kind of
deserve. It'll be interesting to see, especially if the Giants pick up a win here.
Yeah.
Then if the Bucks do as well, then they'll be pushing forward and trying to get that NFC South title.
Yeah, I mean, I still like the Bucks. It's open for them. They're playing really well. Before you, just whilst we're talking about playoff picture, man, Lions, they could get a bye week going like this.
Yeah, it's really weird, isn't it? It's just that it seems that the rest of the NFC, apart from the Cowboys, just no one's really pulling away in their division. I mean, I know the Seahawks are 3 games up, but they're just not. They're not. The Seahawks after. Just their division has just been average this year. Like the NFC West, like arguably beforehand one of the best divisions in football. It's just been the Cardinals just haven't been up to scratch, and it's just the Rams haven't been. I don't know if people thought they were going to be better. I mean, I thought they'd be a little bit better than 4-8. I mean, it's going to be difficult for them to go 7-9 right now. It's also difficult for the Dolphins to go 7-9, the AFC version, with their 7-5 record. But you know, they're losing games, so it could happen.
Yeah, anything's possible.
What I liked about this, one fact I saw of the Giants Steelers game, was that 50% of the people named Eli to ever play in the NFL played in this game. There are 3 different members. There are 3 different players called Eli.
Eli Rogers is the other one.
Yeah, Eli Rogers, and then obviously Eli Apple, and then Eli Manning. And apparently there have only been 6 ever Eli players in the whole NFL, and 50% of them were in this game. So, you know,
wow,
what
a day to be called Eli.
What a stat for that, you know? Yeah. I did see something quite funny, which was like combined the Manning brothers have like 12 interceptions this season, and it's just like Eli looking down and like down and out, and then there's just Peyton up at home and like stuffing his face with like Papa John's pizza.
Have you there is a stat that the two quarterbacks with the most interceptions in the last 10 years, I think, in the NFL, or maybe less, is Jay Cutler and Eli Manning.
Ah, yes, Jay Cutler, what a legend.
Leading in the important stats.
Of course. Yeah, I thought this game was a bit like you needed the Steelers to come out with win if they were going to try and push for the AFC North title, which is looking like it will come down to, I think the Steelers and the Ravens have a Sunday night football game on week 16.
Oh, that's going to be good.
At Heinz Field, so you could see. You see how that's going to turn out, and also at the same time on Sunday Night Football for that week, there is the Broncos at the Chiefs. So implications for AFC West and AFC North coming up.
Gonna be good.
It's gonna be good. Right, I'm gonna move on to one of my games. Actually, one of the games I want to talk about was the Colts Jets game. This will make more. It's not a very exciting game, I know. I mean, the Colts did put up 41 points on them. But this may have had implications for my second game as well. So I'm just going to be talking about the AFC South mostly. But the Colts, they're now moving into their playoff. They're now moving into basically they're them, the Titans, and the Texans right now. All are 6-6. The Jags are obviously out of it with 2-10. But like the AFC South is just one which is completely open right now. Obviously, with 4 games left in the season, we're going to hopefully have a winner. I mean, it could come down to divisional record. With the Texans, are 3-0 in that, with that right now, so it's going to be difficult for anyone to overtake them really. But basically in this game, I mean, it was just like I think Dwayne Allen, everyone's favorite wideout. He got 3 touchdowns, 4 passes. He got 4 receptions. 3 of them were touchdowns for 72 yards. T.Y. Hilton went for 146 yards over 9 receptions. But I even loved it. Like when I was watching the end of the highlights of the game, Scott Tolzien comes in, takes a knee, it was a great winning drive by him. I mean, he took the ball, and they kept the win. But the Colts are kind of getting into the swing of things now, and especially with a huge win like this, which is what we know they're capable of. It's just hopefully they're getting into the momentum they need for the playoffs right now. I mean, I'm not expecting anyone from the AFC South to move far into the playoffs. If it was going to be someone, I would say it'd be Indianapolis Colts, simply because they have the best quarterback in Andrew Luck. And whenever he's on point, and the rest of his offense, and they can carry that pretty average defense, who only allowed 10 points this game.
Yeah, but like let's remember this that this is the Jets.
It is true. Okay, yeah. So you do have 3 interceptions in this game. You do have Ryan Fitzpatrick, who got benched after the second quarter, with Bryce Petty coming through, throwing for 131 yards with 1 touchdown. Well done. But he also threw 2 picks. And it's just another game where the Jets, they're floundering. I mean, they're definitely out of it. It's a long time since they were in the playoffs they were in the playoff picture last year, and moving out of it just seemed to be. I think they've just decided to move on from Fitzpatrick.
Mm-hmm.
With the playing of Bryce Petty, or they're just playing Bryce Petty throughout the rest of the season just to get games up, and they're just like, we'll try next season.
I want to see them play Christian Hackenberg.
Yeah, I don't really know. Like, it just seemed that they were okay with just playing Bryce Petty, and he had some promising plays, but he also threw 2 interceptions.
Yeah, I think yes, Bryce Petty's young, but I think from what we've seen from him so far, he doesn't look like the kind of guy who's going to be a lead franchise quarterback for the Jets. But I mean, the requirement to be a franchise quarterback for the Jets isn't particularly high.
Not right now, yeah. I mean, the Jets are definitely one of the teams where you could see one of the free agent quarterbacks going to at the end of the season.
But no, like I want like Hackenberg. Like he had that one season he was in with Bill O'Brien and Penn State, where they put in kind of a pro style offense. He played really, really well, and I think he got nominated for the Heisman Trophy that year. And and they've spent a second round pick on him, so they obviously have a lot of faith in him. And I want to see them like maybe roll with him for the last couple of games.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not. I'm pretty. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're done with Fitzpatrick.
Yeah.
If he signs for another team, it would only be as like a backup capability.
Yeah, he's had his chance to start.
Yeah, I mean, like
And I think-
he had like the last season was shown that like the pinnacle of what he could do,
Yeah.
and the hope was that he'd finally found himself off a system which worked for him. But for some reason, this year it just hasn't been the case. Like
I think it just shows that I think we all knew deep down what Ryan Fitzpatrick was, that he was inconsistent, and he's just kind of proven that. But except he was inconsistent on a seasonal level instead of a game level.
Yeah, I mean it's taken till week 13 for them to decide to bench him. So, but the Colts hitting their stride.
Yeah.
And it's looking good. I mean, they did like Frank Gore did rush for 79 yards. Like on the Jets, like run defense, which is definitely one of the better ones in the game. So that's something that the Colts can take away. It's not just their passing game, although like fair enough, that's their main thing. But they showed they can kind of do it on that, which is going well. And the Colts just seem to have like a surplus of tight ends. Like they can just throw to like 20 of them. And then it'll be fine. Like it just seems to be the way. Anyway, I think that's all I wanted to talk about. Big up Scott Tolzien, and that's about it.
Yeah, man. Scott Tolzien, after those plays that he had in that game where he started on Thanksgiving, I mean, he's my new hero. I mean, a guy who he takes hits like for fun.
True.
A true underdog. All right, well, I'll move on to my second and final game, which is one of the biggest game of the week in terms of playoff implications, and an inter-conference, so conference-to-conference matchup with the Kansas City Chiefs traveling to Georgia to play the Atlanta Falcons. The final score was 29-28 to the Chiefs, so a really big win for the Chiefs. After having like a shock loss to the Bucks, who actually look good now, they go into Atlanta and have another big win after beating the Broncos as well. And they did it their own way again, which was using defense and kind of really lackluster, boring offense. Which I thought their offense was going to be potentially a problem for them. That yes, they can match up to them on defense, but they can't match up to them on offense. And again, it was a really good coaching job by Andy Reid by playing to their strengths massively and hiding their weaknesses so much. And yeah, they did it so well. I mean, the standout player was probably got to be Eric Berry. He had an interception which he returned for a touchdown.
He had like 8 points.
Yeah, because he then returned an extra point as well.
Which he had 8 points that week, which was he had more points than the Panthers, the 49ers, and the Dolphins. So one player had more points than all those teams. So
How is this like before this season? Seeing someone return an extra point was something I consider a rarity. That's the second time we've seen it this season.
And it's just and it's not even. But I think this one obviously you get like interceptions like in the red zone, which you take back for. But yeah, like it just seems to be with all these missed extra points. It's just adding another element into the game, which I know a lot of people don't like. Not people aren't a fan of because it's kind of taken to the extent where it's like a team should win, but because of one play they muck it up and it's all gone.
Well, it's like the same way. Like, would you say like in rugby, like let's say with a conversion, that's a lot harder to get.
They can't score in a conversion. Like it's not like they can just run back that way.
Yeah, true. But then I think it's about giving the defense credit for making plays.
I think the thing that worries me about the Chiefs is that their defense and special teams are winning them games.
Yeah.
But in the playoffs, against better teams, they're not going to be able to happen. Like,
Denver Broncos did it last year.
No, but I mean, like I'd like the Chiefs. They're in point, and then their defense like bails them out. It's not like they're dominant throughout the entire game. Like they have like pressure on the pass rush and everything, but like you really shouldn't have in the playoffs like an interception unless you're actually going for the whole game, like or online. But I think just like the With Matt Ryan, is kind of like he does like to throw the ball deep, and he does like to sling it around a little bit. But I think the Chiefs are the perfect defense and to like pick up on that. But I don't think in the playoffs when they play against other teams that they'll have that luxury of having like a pass dominant offense. Like I'm looking at the AFC right now. There's very few pass dominant offenses in the AFC. Like when you've got the Raiders there, but they also run the ball really well. With the Falcons, it's basically just their pass game. I know Devontae Freeman went in for 2 touchdowns, but
Yeah, they're
they
definitely
just get
more
punched in.
dominant in terms of their pass game, and I think that for the Falcons, I think a really weak spot for them is their defense because okay, like you look at that, like you were saying, I mean that Chiefs offense isn't that great, but they let them win the game. They still scored points on offense, and that's something they're really need to stop. I mean, they have a Desmond Trufant, who's one of their best defensive players. He's currently injured, and their defense is definitely regressing slowly throughout the season.
Yeah, no, I think it definitely is, but they're still in the running for the NFC South. I mean, they luckily have the Rams this week, so
Yeah.
let's see how that happens. And I don't know if they play the Bucks at the end of the season. No, they don't.
Yeah.
They play the Falcon. They play the Panthers and the Saints in the last 2 games.
They're
of the
lucky.
season.
They've got a fairly straightforward schedule.
So for the Falcons, it's at the Rams. Then they're playing, and then they're home against the 49ers, and then at Carolina and home against the Saints. Whereas the Buccaneers, I mean, they got the divisional matchup coming against this week against the Saints. Then they play the Cowboys, which is going to be a difficult one. Then they play the Saints again, and then the last game of the season they're hosting the Panthers. So like right now it seems like Atlanta has the easier just because the Cowboys are in the Bucs schedule.
You would highly you'd expect the Falcons to take this division
I
unless
expect them
something
to close it
drastically
out.
goes
I
wrong.
mean, I can see the Falcons like losing one game, but because the Buccaneers also have the Cowboys, I expect them to lose that game as well. So even if they go 3-1, I expect the Falcons to make the playoffs.
Yeah, but anything can happen. We know about this Falcons team that I still really don't fully trust them. That I still have last season in the back of my mind, and they've had a couple kind of interesting losses where they've looked slightly weak at times and slightly inconsistent.
Yeah, if they do like muck it up, then I'm sure on the next like episode of the podcast we'll be like, this is classic Falcons.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. I don't sound like being a dick.
Yeah, bearing in mind that the Buccaneers are in that 6th seed for the NFC playoff picture. So I reckon if they go 3-1, that might be playoff time.
This is specific, like how we can, on most power rankings, the Falcons are outside of the top 10. And they're leading a division, and they're in the playoffs. So that's like how people view them. I mean, there's a lot of teams that are above them. I mean, Redskins are above them, Steelers, Ravens, Lions, a lot of good teams that
they're quite a flaky team. They're very inconsistent.
Yeah, well, I mean that's what when you have when you rely so much on an offense, you're going to be flaky.
True. Right, I'm going to move on to my second and final game, which was the Houston Texans playing the Green Bay Packers. And again, this loss put the Texans to 6-6. Obviously, in the game, it was 13-21 to the Packers, and it seems that the Packers just kind of like they're kind of still in the picture. They're 6-6. So are the Minnesota Vikings. They're 2 games behind their divisional leader, sure, but that sixth wild card spot, and the 6th spot in the NFC is currently up for grabs with the Buccaneers. I know the Buccaneers, if they go 3-1, or if the Falcons go 3-1, I expect them to push through. But the Packers, it could be like a time where they're just about to turn it on. It's a big game they got against this week against Seattle, but Seattle won't have one of their members of the Legion of Boom in.
Yeah, I mean, Earl Thomas could be out until deep into the playoffs, they reckon.
Yeah. And then, I mean, they got Chicago. Then the Packers got Chicago. Then the Vikings, and then they travel to the Lions for the last game of the season. So technically, that it's still within their hands, I think, for the Packers. I mean, if you go 10-6 and you don't get the playoffs, I mean, I know it happened to the Jets last season, but that is unlucky.
There's always one team that goes 10-6 that miss out. It happens to the Eagles season before last, and there's always one team that does really well and gets a decent record and just falls out.
I reckon like one of the team that team as well could. I mean, with the draw that the Redskins had against the Bengals in London, this could really come back to hurt them, because if they go 9-6-1 and they miss out on the playoffs because of that missed field goal, and that could really come back to hurt them. But anyway, like just going over this game really. I mean, Brock Osweiler threw for 200 yards, which is a lot more than he's usually known to throw for. 2 touchdowns as well, and he kept the ball. No interceptions, which is promising. But it just happened to work out the way that even if he did play well this game, they lost. And Aaron Rodgers only threw for like 9 yards extra than him, so he threw for 209 yards. Sorry, 7 yards extra. He threw for 209 yards with 2 touchdowns. And Jordy Nelson seems to be back. He seems to be hitting his stride right in time for them to try and make a playoff push. So he had 8 receptions, 118 yards, and a touchdown. And it's working well out for the Packers currently, but you know that they've been inconsistent this season as well. I mean, 6-6, 500, but they do have Aaron Rodgers, like, and you just can't knock it, cross them out really. I know they're 2 games behind the Lions right now, and the Packers have 3 divisional matchups coming up, because they're 2-1 in their division in the division, so that could come. They have a better record than the 1-3 Vikings in the division and the 2-2 Lions in the division. So that divisional record could come back to flip them on top in the last week. Say if they go to the Lions, and they pick up a win in the last week, that could really give the extra push for them to move up to pick up the NFC North. Sorry. So I mean, the Packers are hitting their stride right now, but it's an interesting. I'm really looking forward to the AFC South. I'm just going to say again, because I mean, the Texans are 3-0 in the division. That's the one thing. So they need if they pick up, if they go 3-1 again, then they should be fine.
Yeah, I mean,
it's going to be a difficult one. It's getting into the last stretch of the season where I'm excited for teams to play each other.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be weird, the AFC South, because there's still 3 teams who can win the division. And
like with a realistic opportunity of winning the division as well. Like, not like you can say that in the NFC South, like the Panthers still technically can win the division. But like, I'm not saying that just as a Panthers fan, but I'm just saying like technically they can. And the Bengals could still technically win the AFC North. It's not going to happen. Technically could, but
mathematically it's still possible.
Yeah, but with the AFC South, like 3 teams actually could win it, because they're all on 6. They're all on 6-6. They're all 500. So I mean, the Titans 1-3 record in the division is definitely going to come back to hurt them.
I think also the Titans have got a really tough schedule, and I think they're really going to struggle with that. But I mean, my personal preference, I would love it if the Titans got in, because I mean, also you got to think. I mean, all right, one of those 3 teams, they're not going to be the team that you expect to challenge and go to the AFC Championship game, but they do get a home playoff game, and anything can happen there. So
it's true. It could all come down to week 17. I mean, the Texans are going to the Titans in that last game, and the Colts are hosting the Jags. So it could already be down. I'm not really sure about the Titans, seeing as they have Denver and Kansas City in the next 2 weeks. Pretty tough with those 2 teams pushing for the playoffs as well. But I'm not sure.
Yeah. So just on the Packers quickly, I think the last 2 weeks we've really seen Aaron Rodgers kind of take the team by the scruff of his neck and be like, all right, if no one else is going to play well, I'm going to lead this team, and he's done that. Like he personally destroyed the Eagles on Monday Night Football last week, and this week, I mean, in the horrible conditions that you had in Lambeau Field with the snow, he was a guy who kind of stepped up for them and played really well. And if he keeps doing that, the Packers have got a chance, because with such a good quarterback, like with the Colts with Andrew Luck, all you need is that quarterback to just step up and keep playing, you have a
Mhm.
chance.
That's true. Right, should we get on to some of our predictions for this week? Right, and we kick ourselves off this week on Thursday Night Football with a really good game. Actually, we have the Oakland Raiders, the 10-2 Raiders, who are traveling to divisional rivals Kansas City Chiefs, sitting at 9-3, and I'm actually excited for this one. If the Chiefs win, they go top of the. They do, yeah. The Chiefs have got a better record in the division, as the Chiefs are 4-0, so they're 3-0, and the Raiders are 2-1. So if the Chiefs pick up a W here, they'll go into top seed and they'll go top the AFC West. Big game coming up this week. Who have you got?
Um, this is a coin flip game. You could go either way. I'm gonna dump it on the Chiefs because I think the way that their defense is set up, I think they're a team that could potentially stop the Raiders, especially on offense. I think it's going to be super tight game. And I think it's going to go down to the fourth quarter. We're going to see probably, as usual, like a third/fourth quarter resurgence in the Raiders. And yeah, I think it's going to be really good to watch. Chiefs, yeah, on defense, I'm going to have to give it to them. But the Raiders will stick around for most of this game.
Yeah,
but I think the Chiefs, kind of what they do, where they slow games down, I think that's going to take it out of the Raiders.
Yeah, I'm very tempted to pick the Raiders here because I see them as like, one of the teams which they control the ball well. Like them and the Falcons have the best like passing offense currently right now. I'm not sure, and obviously the Chiefs just beat the Falcons, but I'm not sure if Derek Carr will give the Chiefs that reason to beat the Falcons. I think if it's a shootout and there's no turnovers, then the Raiders are going to win. And I'm really hoping that the Raiders don't let me down this week, so I'm going to have to pick them and them to go 11-2 in the division. Wow.
11-2.
But like as you said, this is a 50-50 game. I mean, no one would be surprised any outcome here. Even a draw, I would not be surprised at. Even though it is like such an odd thing that happens. But yeah, the special teams definitely could be. Special teams defense could be the thing that wins this game, and in that case, Kansas City definitely have the upper hand. Right, moving on to the Sunday games. We got the first goal kicking off at the Steelers at the Bills, which is a tough game for the Steelers, even though they just came up of the win last week against the Giants. And they really need to push for the AFC North title. I think because it's getting into the latter end of the season, this is where Big Ben comes into his stride. So I've got the Steelers in this game.
I'm going to go Steelers as well. As good as I think the Bills were, I think they really exposed some frailties last week, where they started off so well against the Raiders and got themselves a big lead, but then they dipped so quickly and they let the game get away from them. And I think they proved, all right, this Bills team isn't actually for real if this is the kind of stuff they're going to pull at this point in the season. So I think the Steelers will come in and take advantage of that and win the game.
Yeah, not right now. I mean, like the Bills still technically have a chance for their playoffs, but that's only if the AFC West teams keep knocking each other off with points, with wins. I mean. Because obviously you got the Chiefs and the Raiders playing now, so say if the Raiders win, you could see the Chiefs kind of like falling out of the playoff picture like slightly. I don't think it's going to happen for the Chiefs. I think the Broncos are more likely to, even though they're picking up in the next game. But I've got Steelers obviously. Right, moving on to the actual Broncos in the next game. Wow, here we go, Broncos at the Titans. The Titans are really in need of a win, and so are the Broncos, because they really need to keep up with the rest of the teams in the AFC West. And they have a 1-3 record against those teams, so it's going to be difficult for the Broncos to pick up a W here. But I reckon in this game, I wouldn't be surprised at either outcome. I really want to pick the Titans just because I want the Titans to win the division, but I don't think it's happening. I'm going to have to pick the Broncos.
Well, I'm going to grab a pair and pick the Titans.
Oh wow, really? Grab a pair, okay.
But no, like I think the Titans, they're matched up well. That they've got not having a good defense will play into their hands, because the Broncos haven't got a very good offense. It doesn't matter.
Are they going to be starting Paxton Lynch? Is Trevor Siemian still kind of out?
I don't know. I'm never really sure. But I mean, either way, I think whoever they start, I think it's going to be tough for them. And I think that will be good for the Chiefs, for the Titans, because they haven't got very good defense. But and also the Broncos are really lackluster against the Jags. The Jags aren't a very good team as well. And the Titans, they've had a bye week, so they've had a chance to not regenerate, to kind of like relax and have some time off, and get back to having that incredible offense that's been winning them games.
Yeah.
So
All right, fair enough. Right. We have the Redskins taking on the Eagles in an NFC East matchup. Your favorite matchups. You love the NFC East so much.
yay.
And if the Redskins are really going to stay relevant in the push for playoffs, they're going to need to come up with a win here. And I think the Eagles are just like they had their kind of like they had their initial flutter at the start of the season, but they haven't been the same since. And for that reason, I'm trying to pick the Redskins this one. I still think they should. If the Redskins don't make the playoffs, if two teams don't make the playoffs in the NFC East, I'll be very surprised. And like the Redskins are still in the opportunity to move and pick up that third wildcard spot. So I'm gonna have to pick the Skins this one.
Yeah, I'm going to go Skins as well. Eagles have they look like they kind of lost it this season. They started really well, and remember that when we were like calling for like Carson Wentz to be Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, I think so. I do remember that.
Yeah, that's not happening anymore. But yeah, Redskins will win this game. I think they've got it matched up better. I think Eagles defense is having a dip as well, and the Redskins offense is pretty decent.
Mm-hmm. Right, we have the Cardinals at the Dolphins, and the Dolphins really need to pick up a win here for them to be relevant in the AFC playoff picture. But luckily enough for the Dolphins, I think that last week for the Cardinals in their win over the Redskins was a bit of a fluke, and I do like the Dolphins, even though they were absolutely destroyed last week by the Ravens. I don't know now. I'm maybe talking myself. Nah, I'm gonna stick with the Dolphins in this game.
I'm going to go Dolphins as well. And like just on last week, that game was so like obvious of like what those two franchises' reputations are. Ravens, when they need to step it up, they stepped it up and got a big win. Dolphins, when they're in a position to do well, they find a way to screw it up.
Yeah, the Dolphins aren't really having the best stretch right now, but hopefully they can push into the playoffs. I mean, if they pick up a win this week, then they won't be. They'll be at 8 wins. So no 7-5 reputation for them either.
Yeah, I think they have a real chance against the Cardinals. The Cardinals have got a really one-dimensional offense. It's basically just David Johnson who catches and runs.
To be honest, he's David Johnson. Like probably, I reckon he's had one of the best seasons of anyone this year. Really. I mean, he's having a good as you said, like he's very two-dimensional. He can give you that like throwing and running out of the backfield. You can give him that. You can throw it to him. But he's also got the run game, which is going well for him. It's the only spark on the Cardinals offense. I mean, he's third in rushing in the NFL right now with 1,005 rushing yards, a little bit behind Zeke Elliott. By like 280 yards, but could happen. I'm not saying it will.
Yeah, but David Johnson gets more like receptions, as in like receiving yards, than Zeke Elliott.
Yeah, no, I was just strictly speaking that as like a just rushing.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry if you got confused. Right, we're both picking the Dolphins then.
Yep.
Yeah, awesome. Right, the Vikings at the Jags. The Jags have been terrible, so Vikings.
Yeah, same as well. Blake Bortles got some serious issues. Needs to sort them out. If not, it was nice knowing you.
Yeah,
well,
I mean,
I don't know personally, but
I mean, they're now like the third worst team in the NFL.
They've
after the
got back to their
and the Browns.
usual position.
I mean, with the Bears just somehow 3-9. I mean, I don't know what's going on there, but with a quick note on the Jags. I mean, they're probably one of the I know there was a lot of teams who had big expectations this season who have really let people down. The Cardinals, the Panthers, say the Bengals as well. But it's just the Jags were people were like picking them for like NFC South divisional titles, thinking that Blake would also do it, and it just really hasn't been the case for them. It's just, I don't know, the Jags just haven't been that great this season. It's just been like a huge step down for them and a regression. I think Gus Bradley might be under the hot seat. Like, I mean, if he's not, and then I'll be really worried about the NFL owners because with the extension of Jeff Fisher, and if Gus Bradley doesn't get the sack, I mean, that's kind of weird.
Mm.
But I don't know. I really do expect this him to be his last like head coach season. Well, in Jacksonville at least. In Jacksonville.
Yeah, I think he's going to struggle to give them a reason for him to stay.
Unless he wins some more games, but I don't know. Right, huge game for the AFC South with the Texans traveling to the Colts. And the Colts really need to pick up a win here, simply because the Texans are 3-0 in the division, so they need to split with the Colts if the Colts are going to pick up a W. I think off of last week, where the Colts picked up 41 points, not yards, 41 points against the Jets. I'm expecting them to do not the same, but with the same tenacity as they did against the Colts. And I'm gonna pick the Colts. I'm against the Jets, so I've got the Colts in this one.
I'm going to go Colts as well because I'm less convinced by the Texans' quarterback situation, and the Texans' defense seems to regress with every game. Like you think one game that Jadeveon Clowney is kind of finally be the JJ Watt that they wanted him to be, but then he's not. And I think the Colts they have one guy that they can really rely on, and I think that's what's going to drag them through this season.
Mm-hmm. Right. Moving on to the next game, which is actually a really average game if you're not a fan of either of the two teams. You have the Chargers coming to Carolina to play the Panthers. And in this case, for both teams, 5-7 and 4-8, they're not making the playoffs. So, interesting to see how this game turns out. I mean, I'm not really sure how I feel about the rest of the season because, I mean, once you're not in the playoffs, I mean, I'm not really that bothered about the record if we're not in the playoffs. So I'm not. I don't even know if I'd want the Panthers to pick up a win here. I would like a high draft pick, but at the same time, we really should win this game. So I'm gonna have to pick us.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Panthers as well. Both of these teams are thinking about the off season now. I mean, the Chargers are probably thinking about playing at LA now. That they've had some contact. Apparently, they've been in contact with the LA Coliseum about possibly playing there next season.
Oh wow! Okay, interesting.
So it looks like LA is realistic.
It's currently shared between is it two teams? Is the Rams and the
and USC play there as well.
So that'll be 3 teams next season. Wow.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
Oh, at least there'll be a game every week there.
Yeah, that'd be quite cool. I mean, and do you think it would be logistically possible to have an afternoon game there and then have a primetime game there?
Oh, what? You actually think the 4:25 kickoff game, and then
actually no, that wouldn't work because you'd have half an hour.
And then 8 o'clock one. No, you couldn't get everyone out of the stadium. You definitely couldn't.
That would be so.
Maybe if they started a game at 10 a.m. for them, but I don't think they would ever do that.
Yeah, you'd need at least 3 to 4 hours because you'd need to allow players to get into the stadium.
Oh yeah, they're gonna have to do all their warm-ups and everything, and then imagine how much the locker room would smell after everyone.
Well, you'd have 2 separate locker rooms.
I mean, I don't know. UFC will probably be guys, we really don't need this, okay? We're fine with how our stadium is. Can you just leave?
Well, it could actually work. They could do two games on a weekend because college football plays on a Saturday. So USC could play a game on Saturday, and then Rams or Chargers could play on a Sunday. The
groundsman's gonna get a lot of work.
Yeah, but they're just give him more money.
Yeah, all right. Moving on to the next game, we have the Bengals at the Browns. The Browns aren't winning.
I'm actually going to go for the Browns.
No way! You think this is the one or the Browns? Wait, who the Browns got? The Browns got the Bills next week, and the Chargers are home. Oh wow, that could be the game.
No, I'm going for this one. This divisional game. I think the game they're going to win is going to be a divisional game.
But you said that if they win, then they will be given the number 2 draft pick.
Yeah.
Do they actually want that?
Well, maybe. I don't know. I mean, I think if they do get a high draft pick, I could see them trading out again because
Yeah,
there's
I
not
definitely see that being the case.
there's not like a standout player who everyone's raving about. There's like a group of 5 or 6 players who are exciting,
Uh-huh.
but there's no like star coming out of this draft. So it
That kind
seems
of
like a
sucks. I
similar
don't know how
draft
this
class to
happens
last.
like every kind of years. Like
Yeah,
some okay players, but some just like I don't know.
yeah. And the quarterbacks this year don't look amazing,
Mm.
which is less down to the quarterbacks. It's more down to the systems that they're playing in college at the moment
Mm.
aren't really preparing them well for the NFL.
Okay, yeah, that's fair enough. Fair enough. Right, I'm gonna move on to the Bears at Lions game.
Trap game.
Yeah. You think it's a trap game?
I think this is a trap game, but I'm still going to pick the Lions.
Yeah, I'm gonna pick the Lions as well. I mean, I really don't think it's a trap game. I think the Lions
But
are pushing forward
this
for
has
that
such
NFC North
potential to
title.
be a trap game.
Yeah, I reckon it definitely does. But I really don't know. I'm expecting the Lions to pick up a win here. Right, definitely on to the worst game this week. Even the Chargers-Panthers game is better. The Jets are playing the 49ers. This could be a win for the 40. Imagine if the Browns and the 49ers won.
Yeah.
But they both picked up a W. But I mean, for this game, I actually might pick the 49ers because I really don't think the Jets are that great.
I'm
Jets
going to
are
go Jets
horrific.
because the 49ers are just even worse.
Yeah, the 49ers are terrible. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go with the 49ers.
Okay.
I'll pick up that win. I don't know. I'll probably regret it. Anyway, the Saints are playing the Buccaneers in an NFC South matchup. And the Buccaneers on that hot streak, and I think they're going to continue it. I mean, they're home. Jameis Winston's doing quite well, and I think they're going to pick up the win here.
Yeah, and this is a really important game if they want to prove to people that this hot streak isn't a fluke, because these are the games that you win. Like you have the games where you go up against good teams where you're really really pumped up, and this is a game against a team where they're now expected to win. How they come out through this.
Yeah, very interesting to see what happens there. Right, moving on to the other NFC South team pushing for the title. The Falcons are playing the Rams. Coming off that hard loss last week, but I still think the Falcons are going to pick up the win here because the Rams are terrible.
Yeah, do we really expect the Rams to do anything in this game?
Yeah, I really don't think that's going to happen. Right, well, both picking the Falcons. We've got 3 games left here. 3 actually pretty exciting games, all of them. First up, we have the last of the afternoon games, which is the Seahawks at the Green Bay Packers. And the Seahawks without Earl Thomas. Do you think this means the Packers actually have a chance of picking up a win here?
I think it does, because Aaron Rodgers will take advantage of it because it will weaken that secondary. But I don't think it's going to be the thing that pushes them over into a win, because I think the Seahawks match up well in so many other areas of the game.
Well,
like
yeah, plus
the
Seahawks coming off that 40-7 win against Carolina. That's a huge confidence boost.
And then you have to remember that Packers defense against the Seahawks offense. The Seahawks offense has its troubles, but I don't think the Packers has got the kind of pass rush that's going to frustrate them like the Bucks did.
See, have you got the Seahawks in this?
Yeah, Seahawks.
I don't know. Yeah, I'll pick the Seahawks as well. I don't think the Packers are getting to the playoffs this season. Right, Cowboys at the only team to beat them this season, the New York Giants. I kind of want the Cowboys to lose, so I'm just going to pick the Giants. Plus, they did beat them at the start of the season, and the Cowboys have already clinched that playoff berth. And a loss to the Giants won't look that bad, I don't think.
Yeah, but I'm going to go Cowboys because I don't think the Giants are that good.
Oh, I don't know. The Giants pretty damn good. Eli, that double combination of Eli Apple and Eli Manning, I don't know.
It's too much Eli in that team.
Right, and then you got your Patriots playing the Ravens on Monday Night Football. I think I might have to go with you guys and pick the. You guys
I'm going to go.
Although it is Joe Flacco in Foxborough, so I'm going to pick the Ravens.
All right, well, fine. Well, I'm going to go Patriots. I think that. Okay, there's sadly Gronkowski's out for the rest of the season, but I think there'll be enough. The Patriots will find a way to win. I think it's going to be a really good game because it's at that like this could have potentially been like a really bad game if the Ravens hadn't won last week, and they won last week and they look like the Ravens team, like a Ravens team that goes on and does well in the playoffs. And I think it's going to be such a tight game to watch. I think crucially the Patriots, where they're going to win this game, is going to be with their pass rush that looked quite good against the Rams, and I think they can do the same against the Ravens and kind
I
of.
don't know, against the Rams and the Ravens, a little bit different there, I feel.
Yeah, but come on. The Rams, their Ravens, their offensive line hasn't been lights out this season. So
It's true. It is true. I always feel that the Ravens always get like they always in playing the Patriots, they always pick up more than, they seem to be the team that always kind of beat you guys in the playoffs. If
yeah,
there
but
would
this
be,
isn't playoffs.
I know,
It's the regular
I know it's
season.
not the playoffs, but it's still the Ravens. It seems to be like your like kind of crunch team, which is just like they upset you guys. I don't know what it is about the Ravens, but their defense is just is playing pretty well right now. Eric Weddle's playing well, getting that interception last week as well. And I know with Gronk out, the offense, I'm not too sure about it. With the Ravens, like run stuff as well. I don't think
Yeah, but
LeGarrette Blunt will
Patriots
get
got
off
a
that well.
three-headed run attack with LeGarrette Blunt, James White, and Dion Lewis.
Like, is it even three-headed? Like, I don't even think it is. Like,
yeah, it is.
it's just LeGarrette Blunt and then maybe one of the other two.
No, it's been good fun to watch.
Right, well, I'll pick the Ravens. You got the Patriots. And that'll do it for this week, guys. Hope you enjoyed podcast. Sorry again for me being ill. Can't really help it. But, I tried to mute my mic every time I went to a coughing fit. But, I'm not really sure if it's going to come out that well. But we'll see. Anything else you want to chat about, Will? Or
Nah, it's good.
good. All right, guys. Hope you have a good one. And we will see you next week.